Let's do it! Live on YouTube. Hello. High CPU usage detected. May experience performance issues. Well, we better not. Didn't pay all this money for a good laptop for performance issues. It's not how we roll in the dugout. Alright, welcome live streamers. Episode 93 of Dave's Dugout. Let's get this ball rolling. Alright, we're recording. We're live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. We're recording the podcast on this mic. Got a lot going on, and we have a lot going on today. But first, you know how we do. Hang on. Let's try to get this down here. Ooh. Oh, it doesn't get any smaller. That's dumb. No wonder I never do that. Okay. Last delay, I promise. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. It's Friday. If you can't tell why, I'm excited. Let's go. Episode 93 of the Dugout. Woo! We're live on Instagram. We're live on YouTube. And if you're listening to the podcast, thank you very much. Episode 93 of the Dugout. Woo! We're getting up there, folks. We're getting up there. Happy Friday. It's actually gray and gloomy outside my window for once. It's usually sunny every single day here in Grand Junction where I'm recording the pod. Timestamp, Friday afternoon, almost 1 o'clock here Mountain Time on this beautiful Friday. It is December 18th already. I can't believe Christmas is right around the corner. Oh my goodness, you know what that means. Christmas means NBA starting soon. We'll get to that. We have big news in the PLL for all my lacrosse fans out there. NFL playoffs just 3 weeks away. College football playoff championship weekend is tomorrow. And college basketball, obviously. And a couple little random tidbits. As always, so much to get to in the dugout. Wow. But we're going to do it. We're going to get to all of it because that's what I do. Right? Is it too? It's too bright in here. Is that better? A little. Still pretty bright. Ugh. Yeah, that's better. Ugh. Okay. Small delay. I think that looks better. I don't know, actually. It might look worse. No, it looks better. All right. Sorry, podcast listeners. If you're listening and you don't get to see, you can always go check it out late. The episodes stay up after they're live. Dave Eckert on YouTube. Go check it out. Good stuff. All right. First thing off the bat. This is weird. I don't like being able to see myself in so many different places. I miss the days when the podcast was just a podcast, man. Gotta always try to make things better. Can never be good enough for you people. All right, first thing off the top, Tiger Woods in the news again for the cutest reasons. He's got a little cub, a little baby tiger roaming on the greens, and he's so damn cute. I think he's 13, did I hear? Or 11? He's 11? Anyway, his golf swing looks so good. If you can imagine what Tiger Woods' son's golf swing looks like. It's actually... I don't want to use creepy is not the right word, but it's a little odd how much this kid developed Tiger's mannerisms. It's literally like he's a clone. I don't think he's actually Tiger's son. I think he's a clone. I think Tiger cloned himself when he got hurt. He was like, oh man, I got to keep the legacy going. I got out of the game early. We got to get back in. He's like, I'm going to clone myself. I have all the money. Nike's going to sponsor it. We're going to make a clone. That's what happened. That's the real news. That's why you come to the dugout to find out what really happened. There's clones. Didn't they clone a sheep in the 90s? This is possible. I know I'm crazy, but this is what happened. I'm just telling you. These are facts. All right, we're off to a crazy start. But, hang on. Coffee break. Not that I need it. Oh, a little snow flurry out the window. All right. What were we talking about? Tiger Woods. So yeah, PGA Championships coming up this weekend, and there's videos going viral of Tiger's kid for obvious reasons. I mean, they literally have side by sides of their swings. They have side by sides of like them walking on the green. I guess Tiger, when he picks his ball out of the cup, he's always stepped out with his left foot, which I guess most people don't do. We're really nitpicking here, but like his kid does it the same way. Even to like the fist pump, the golf club twirl after his drives. Like it's eerily similar, and it's like it's gone viral. It's a good video. Go check it out. His little kid's cute, and he's probably going to be amazing. He's already won junior league championships, and he's probably going to continue to be really good at golf because you can only imagine that would be the case. So yeah, I want to lead off with that little fun, cute story, and it's yeah, that's why. And then first thing I want to get going, I know I'm sad to admit this, but most of you probably aren't the biggest lacrosse fans. I'll convert you eventually as long as you keep listening. Maybe not. We're a step closer, people. So here's the big news. The PLL announced, when was it? Wednesday? December 16th was 2 days ago. Can I do math? That's Wednesday, right? Yeah. All right. So the Premier Lacrosse League announced that they will be merging with Major League Lacrosse. This is huge news for the entire sport of lacrosse. This is not just huge news for the Premier Lacrosse League. And if you've been listening and watching for some time, you know I'm a big fan of the Premier Lacrosse League. I went to two different weekends, I was going to say games, but there's multiple games each weekend. The first year, this year, obviously we could not because they did a bubble situation in Utah. So where was I going with that? So this is just this is huge for the entire sport of lacrosse. Is what I wanted to say. And not to toot my own horn, but I have to because no one else is going to do it for me. Pat myself on the back here. Although now with hindsight, I mean this had to have been their goal all along because we know lacrosse is not the biggest market, right? So is there room for two professional leagues in lacrosse? The answer was probably no, and now obviously the answer is no. And I think the answer should have been obviously no early. I mean, there's not two football leagues, there's not two professional baseball leagues. There's one for a reason because you want all the best players in one place. I mean, that's how you get a good product is with all the best athletes in the world in one place. I mean, there's not two NBAs. The only one that there is kind of two is a UFC, where now was it Bellator is the second one now? But there used to be a bunch, and UFC kind of merged and bought all the other. God, why am I blanking on what the one was that Uriah Faber was like undefeated in for so long? Oh, that's gonna bug the crap out of me. Anyway, it'll probably pop in my head later. God, I have it. Anyway, so and I said this from the get-go when the PLL was formed. I said once they started doing such a good job with everything from social media to the way they were running the company, I was like the PLL is gonna do what UFC did to MMA. The PLL is gonna do that for lacrosse. They're gonna merge all the MLL and the indoor leagues might be a different story, but they're gonna make lacrosse a product like the UFC and make it a little more nationally known and renowned. I don't know what the right word is for that. Popular, obviously, but this is that huge first step that I was kind of hinting at 2 years ago. And this is big. This is, I think, perfect because you're obviously getting all of the fans to look at one place. The PLL has done a better job with. They have games on NBC. The MLL did not. The PLL had honestly more athletes, better athletes. I think just a better product. Their social media is better. Their logo, uniforms. I mean everything looks better, more aesthetically appealing to the eye, everything. So there's that. Here's a little bit more of the newsy part of like what's actually happening into it if you're interested. So the MLL is going to, the PLL essentially has the rights to use any of their teams in the future, and one that they're using right now. The PLL has 7 teams. They started with 6. They had an expansion draft last year and added the Water Dogs, and now they're going to have another expansion draft here in 2021 and add the Boston Cannons. So the Boston Cannons won the 2020 MLL championship, and they're going to merge now with the PLL. The PLL is going to do an expansion draft essentially, just like they did for the Water Dogs. So every team is going to be able to have X amount of keepers, quote unquote, and I would believe all of the MLL players are going to have the opportunity to join the player pool. These details are kind of still out there. So they'll be able to draft people already in the PLL and be able to draft MLL stars as well. They're not just going to have the Boston Cannons team and then put that. That's not going to be the case. It's going to be a whole totally different roster. And they're going to switch the name because the PLL doesn't have cities right now. It's a moving, whatever you want to call it. So they're going to be the Cannons Lacrosse Club. All it follows what's Water Dogs Lacrosse Club, Archers Lacrosse Club. That's kind of the format. So instead of the Boston Cannons, it's going to be the Cannons Lacrosse Club. Assuming they're going to change the logos and the motto and all that, and make the brand fit into the PLL brand. They always come out with the nice shields. It's cool. So that's kind of what's going to happen there. I think some people are a little surprised that they didn't take the Long Island Lizards. Well, there's the New York Lizards now, or the Bayhawks, or even the Denver Outlaws. That's a team locally now more for me. So I think part of that reason is probably because the MLL was based out of Boston. Paul Rabel played for the Boston Cannons. He also played for the Lizards, I believe. But probably because I think the MLL's HQ is out of Boston. Might have had something to do with it. Anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if they add 2 more of the old MLL in years to come. Maybe next year they go to 10 teams. I don't know. That's just speculation. So we'll see. I think this is terrific. Long story short, that's great news. I don't know how much more we want to get into it. I mean, I think it's huge. It's really good news. I think it's great for the sport. I'm glad I called it early. I mean, yeah, everything about that's good. I don't see how there's a downside. I'm trying to play like devil's advocate, but don't see one. I'm going to be interested in what happens with like Twitter accounts and stuff. I know this is so 2020, but like the MLLs, how do they can they like merge those? Or are they going to just make like a PLL 2.0 account that has like all their followers? I don't know. Okay, so that was some PLL talk. We'll get into NFL now after this commercial break. One day, folks, one day. Love commercial breaks. Just pretend like you're listening to a stupid ad right now. The sound of my voice is actually probably less annoying, or the sound of me drinking, than get this promo code for no. What's that stupid add-on that they always promote on podcasts? We'll add promo codes for you automatically. Oh, cool. I shouldn't, because they could probably sponsor me. I probably shouldn't put them down like that. Alrighty. Wow, we're ranting today. This is gonna be a long one, folks. We're 15 minutes in. Love it. Alright, so let's start with America's most popular sport. It's probably what you should start every podcast with, just to keep you guys engaged. Let's go NFL playoffs, but first we're going to talk about that crazy Monday Night Football game just a little bit. I just wanted to note it because it was insane. If you didn't watch the Browns vs. Ravens game on Monday night, it was probably going to be the best regular season game of the year. It's already up there, top 2, top 3. I think it's probably the best one. Who would have thought? The Browns, man. The Browns are capable of giving us the best Monday night game of the year, if not the best game of the year. So there's that. I mean, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson was just like a video game cheat code. He looked like the old original Madden, just like running all over the field, zigzagging, going from sideline to sideline. Absolutely insane. Then, as we all know, if you don't know, he he goes to the locker room for practically most of the fourth quarter, and for cramps. Everybody assumes on Twitter and online that we think he had diarrhea. I mean, nobody wants to like say that word on air, but there we go. I'll say it. And so there's still no like proof of that. Nobody knows. He claims that it was cramps, which I mean maybe a stomach cramp. I mean technically maybe he's just like being choosy with the words, which is smart. But he, in a press conference said I didn't pull a Paul Pierce. We all know years ago there was this famous where Paul Pierce got carted out I think it was in the playoffs. With the Celtics, and it turns out like years later he finally admitted he like had to go number 2. And I don't know if this is true, but I think the wheelchair was because maybe there was a stain. I'm not sure. That might be speculation, but that's kind of what it sounds like. Because they were like, why did you need a wheelchair to just run to the bathroom? So I don't know if we'll ever have answers to that. Maybe we do online somewhere in the dark web. I don't know. Check that out. And so anyway, long story short, Lamar Jackson comes out of the locker room. Game on the line. It's 4th and 5. You literally see one of the trainers like throw him a helmet. He just grabs the helmet, goes, hey, can you like go win us the game, Lamar? It's like, yeah, sure, why not? Comes out there, throws a touchdown. Like, it's literally like fake. It's like you can't make this shit, like you can't make that up. So, I mean, literally, like, what? How do you run it? But anyway, and the cramp thing is most likely true. I mean, he had a mark or a Band-Aid on his arm from the IV and everything. So either way, he was dehydrated or sick or like who knows, cramping. I mean, that's what we got to go with. That's what he said it was, cramps. So just the fact that he comes out and throws a touchdown the very first play was amazing. And then the Browns just keep answering. I mean, Baker Mayfield. And this was earlier in the game, but like Lamar Jackson, I think, ran it in for a touchdown and like just threw the football as hard as he could, like at the wall or the whatever that's called, the wall right behind the end zone. Because like instead of like a spike on the ground, he just chucked it at the wall. So then Baker runs in a touchdown. He's like, I can do it with my feet too. Baker just chucks the football at the wall, and we're like, whoa, like, all right, like, and Baker's like, I mean, he's a bold guy. That's what I'll say. I mean, so they're going toe for toe, scoring touchdowns. I mean, what was the final score? It was like 47, 45 or whatever it was, something crazy. I won't even get into the bad beat with how the Browns are, the last play of the game, they're trying to like lateral. I mean, like, because that play always works. And they're literally going backwards. And if you had the money line on this game, you're like praying that they do not get a safety. And they do. Like they go backwards 30 yards and get a safety. So anybody who bet on this game got screwed on this absurd play. I mean, even Scott Van Pelt after the game, he's like, we already did the bad, like we have the bad beat segment already written. He's like, but that was the worst beat. He's like that. They were just laughing. I mean, like on air, they come out to him after for the post game. He's just like. He just stared at the camera. He like stared at the camera for like 15 seconds and was just like, what is there to say? And then just laughed, and then they started the show. It was great. That's why SVP is one of the best out there, because it's real. It's true. He's just like himself. It's fun. So that was Monday Night Football. In case you missed it. I said I was only going to talk about it quickly, but I mean, that was pretty quick. All right, so let's go into some NFL teams in the playoffs and out of the playoffs. If you are not keeping up to date with your favorite NFL teams, which if you're listening to this, I'm probably pretty sure you're probably pretty up on the NFL, but I digress. So 2 teams clinched the playoffs in the AFC, and those are the Kansas City Chiefs and Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers were undefeated, the longest of any team in the NFL, but now the Chiefs have the best record at 12-1. Steelers have lost 2; they're 11-2. but they've both clinched a playoff spot. And then we have a bunch of teams in the fight. And the AFC is actually very interesting. A lot of teams have been eliminated from the playoffs, whereas in the NFC, I think only one has. So here's the teams. So those are the two teams who have made it. If I don't mention your team, it means they're in the hunt. So the Chiefs and the Steelers are in. Clinched, done, set, game match. They could lose the next 3 games, still be in. Here are teams that are eliminated. No matter what, they could win the next 3 games, they're still out of it. Those are the Los Angeles Chargers, the Houston Texans. Those two, a little surprising, but not really. Cincinnati Bengals, Jacksonville Jaguars, and obviously the winless Jets have been eliminated from the playoffs. The poor Jets. The poor Jets. Man. And then in the NFC, same thing. 2 teams have clinched, and not too surprising, they're both at 10-3. They're the Packers and the Saints, both clinched playoff berths. Then essentially everybody else is in the hunt. Some teams have barely a chance, but there's still a sliver of hope. So you're saying there's a chance. So whereas the Giants, the Giants might make it. Hey, it would not be the first time the Giants made the playoffs on the wild card, and then what? Did they make the Super Bowl? My crazy Giants fans. And then the only team that has been eliminated are the Falcons, which is actually terrible for me because that was my preseason pick for them to win their division. That was my sleeper pick. And hey, I pat myself on the back when I'm right. I gotta admit when I'm wrong. I was so wrong in the Falcons. I don't know what's going on. They have a great roster. I don't know, man. It's the Falcons. They're either losing the Super Bowl. I was gonna say winning the Super Bowl, or they're not making the playoffs. So they're the only team in the NFC that's actually been technically eliminated from the playoffs. So that's great. This is fantastic. Thanks a lot, Falcons. Make me look really smart. Losers. Okay. So that's a quick. I'm not gonna go into scores of every week in the of last week's games. I did the breakdown of Monday Night Football. That was the big game. And then the only game you really got to watch on Sunday is the Rams beating the Jets by 50. The poor Jets. I feel bad for them. All right. So we'll stick with football. Let's go into college. I haven't really talked about college football that much this year. I don't know why. Maybe because games get canceled in basketball too. I've been talking about that a lot. I don't know. But here, we'll do it now. Championship Saturday, tomorrow. Here's the top 10 real quick. I won't do I'm not gonna go crazy here, but Alabama, shocker. Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State, A&M, Iowa State. That might be a little surprising for people. Florida, Georgia, Cincinnati. That might be a little surprising. Oklahoma, and you have Coastal at 12, which we'll talk about here in a sec. So that's your college football playoff rankings as of right now. And then the big games, the championship games here, coming up on Saturday. There's the Pac-12 on Friday too, but that's today. Oregon and USC, so we'll see. But the Big Ten championship, hilarious. Ohio State, number 4 team in the country. The Big Ten originally said you have to have 6 games to be eligible for the championship. Ohio State had 3 games canceled. They only had 5. But they're like, oh, man, but it's Ohio State. We can't not have Ohio State in our championship. So the Big Ten just erased that rule. I mean, that just shows you how ridiculous 2020's been. We just make all these rules. And we just move the goalposts when it fits us or when we want people to think something. Just boop, boop, boop. Here's a rule. No, just take it away. So they just took it away. Ohio State's in the championship. Shocker. They're probably going to win by 30 against Northwestern. Northwestern's ranked 14, but I don't know. Does anybody really have Northwestern beating Ohio State? I'd be shocked. Maybe they will, and I'll look stupid again, but I doubt it. Ohio State's just almost there. No, I'm not going to give them that much credit. I was going to say with Alabama, but they're not. They've been in the playoff, however many years. So I just think that's just, hilarious that they're like, you only had 5 games, but you're gonna have how many viewers? Huh? That's gonna look good on TV. It's like, yeah, all right, yeah, we'll get rid of that rule for you guys. Yeah, the ratings are gonna be pretty high if you guys are in the championship. So yeah, we'll let you guys. Well, yeah, 5 games is fine. That's cool. In the Big 12 championship, Iowa State and Oklahoma, number 6 versus number 10. Oklahoma, they've just been winning the Big 12 every year, it seems like, and almost being in the playoff and getting hosed from it. And Iowa State, is it the only game they've lost was to, the Raging Cajuns. First game of the year, they lost by a lot, 31-14. And Raging Cajuns, man, I was going to talk about that in a sec, but we will, because that's crazy. So Iowa State already played Oklahoma once, and they won by a touchdown. So this should be a good game. The thing I thought was crazy is Iowa State beat Kansas State. What was the score? 45-0. And Oklahoma lost to that Kansas State team. So I have no idea what to think about. That's just college sports for you, I guess, in general. One team's hot one week. Football seems to be less like that than basketball. But I guess it does happen. How does Iowa State beat a team 45-0 and then Oklahoma loses to them? It was like a good amount, too. I don't have that game pulled up, but... So that's just weird. So Iowa State beat Oklahoma by 7 last time, so we'll see what happens this time. I usually like to take the team that's seeking revenge. That will probably be... I don't know. I feel like if Oklahoma was getting points, that might be... how do you... based on their success of the last however many years, that might be the safe bet. Even though they've lost 2 games. Crazy. So here's the Sun Belt Championship game. I believe just got canceled today. I don't know if it got canceled yesterday. But this has been canceled. It was the Raging Cajuns versus Coastal Carolina. The Raging Cajuns, I've been hot on all year, and they got ranked for a little while. Now they're finally ranked again. Mainly, like I just said, they beat Iowa State. Are they undefeated? I want to get this right before I give them too much credit. No, they're 9-1. Who'd they lose to? But so they are. They're clearly one of the best teams. At least playing everyone has short schedules this year. Oh, so they lost. Yes. They lost to Coastal by 3 points. So this would have been the championship game. Was the Cajuns versus Coastal? Coastal's undefeated. And this is like one of those arguments. This is why we should have 8 teams in the playoff. Because essentially, the winner of that game, I think, should be the 8th team in the playoff. Absolutely. And, but obviously we're not going to get that. It's not possible with 4 teams. Maybe they'll pull this thing like national champions if they go undefeated. But now, I don't know, it means less when your championship game gets canceled. 2020, man. Maybe this is why I haven't been so hot on football. Alabama and Notre Dame are both undefeated. Clemson has 1 loss, and it's to Notre Dame. And it was without Trevor Lawrence. Thanks COVID, once again. I said it. I said the C word. No. And Ohio State's in that 4 spot for obvious reasons. Like I said, the ratings. If you don't think it's about the ratings, you're crazy. So Clemson, Notre Dame. I think Clemson's a double-digit favorite. Notre Dame won by a touchdown in double overtime last time, and that was without Trevor Lawrence. So I'm not surprised that Clemson is. Dickie V is all like Notre Dame's underrated. They're going to win by double digits. I don't know, man. Maybe. I hope so. Clemson's been way too good for too long. And then Notre Dame, we have to talk about Brian Kelly is going viral right now for... He sounds crazy. He does. I'll admit that. But I think he kind of has a point. A little. Why would you play a game if you can't play in front of your parents, that's a stretch. I mean, you play the game to play the game, because you like football, maybe. But the other thing is like, hey man, he's taking a stand for like, yo, like California's rules are stupid. Like, I think everybody kind of should agree with that. That California took things too far, is taking things too far. If you don't, sorry, I just offended probably a bunch of people. But I mean, so what? They're just gonna move the game to Dallas, and then you can have people go. I mean, what's the difference? If the game's at the Rose Bowl, they're gonna have the Rose Bowl at a different stadium. I mean, this is one of those things. You just move the goalpost. It's just stupid. We just do it to fit our agenda. It's So he's saying if they make the playoffs and they have to play in the Rose Bowl, he said they don't want to play in the Rose Bowl. He's like, we'll opt out. I don't know how true that is. I think they'll get forced to play. Notre Dame's a huge for ratings. I mean, you're gonna get people upstairs are want Notre Dame in the Rose Bowl. And his point is like, hey, all right, well, let's play somewhere else. I'm not playing in California when I can't play in front of people. I don't know. We'll see who wins that battle. I don't think it's going to be him, but at least he's taking a stand for something. I mean, that's cool. People need to do that more often. I don't know. If he's right or not up to me, but it's still cool. Cool? Is that the right word? I don't know. So that's that. I would get more into that, but I don't know how much more. We'll just like kind of see how that plays out, and then we'll talk about it. Because I mean, it is. It's ridiculous that they can play. They've been playing games all over the country all year, and now it's like whatever. It's complicated. And I don't stand one way or the other. I'm in the middle, like with most things. I don't really know what to do. That's why people that make more money than me make these decisions. People that make that much money making these decisions are usually making the decisions for the wrong reasons, and then they try to make it look like they're doing it for the right reasons, but they're really not. Like, they're trying to do it for player safety and because they want people, you know. Like I said, a lot of things have to do with the ratings. Believe me, it's behind the scenes, but that's the truth, and it hurts, and they don't want you to know. Like DJ Khaled says, they don't want us to win. They don't want you to know it's about the ratings. But it is. It's always about the ratings. And a paycheck. Or Uncle Sam getting his check. So a lot of stuff's about that too. Anyway, I'm ranting today. Wow. I'm going to get in trouble. Then Tulsa and Cincy in the American Championship game. We'll see what happens there. If Cincinnati can go undefeated 9-0, they're going to be one of those teams like, we should be in the playoff. It's not going to happen. Here's ratings, man. 8 teams, maybe you got a chance. 4, no shot. Sorry. It's true. Sad, but it's true. And then the SEC Championship game, a lot of people had Florida as like an SEC sleeper pick. They've already lost 2 games. Dude, it just sucks. You're not beating Alabama. Maybe Florida has a chance. You pull off an upset, but I wouldn't put my money where my mouth was on that one. It's Alabama, man. But everyone else who said that game's 8 o'clock on CBS on Saturday. Alabama doing Alabama things. They're number 1, undefeated for a reason. 10-0. I don't see that changing anytime soon. That was depressing. Okay. All right. Let me do this first. All right. Really don't have much on this, but just noteworthy. I think I said it off the top too. The NBA starts soon, really soon. It's the 18th. They start on the 23rd. Cool, they're getting it in time for Christmas. I know that's like a big thing for a lot of people. That's like Thanksgiving football, but a tier below. A lot of people, it might be a tradition in your family, big basketball families. So that's cool. Make a little bit of normalcy. I know, they usually make special uniforms and stuff every year for that too. So NBA is starting soon. I mean, it's cool, but it's just like, I don't know. I almost wish they would have waited until January because it just feels like it just ended. It's just like I've always said this about baseball. The season's just too damn long. Like you gotta people need a break. Like less is more sometimes. It's like I think that's why football is so special because it was 15 weeks. They only play once a week, and it's like when they play, you want to tune in. Baseball and hockey and basketball, it's like, oh my god, every night they're playing. It's crazy. And now it's like they have a month off. Like we literally just saw LeBron win a championship, and now they're playing. It's nuts. So good and bad that they're starting. Because obviously, usually they would be playing right now. They didn't get the offseason they usually get. So that's a mess. What isn't a mess this year, huh? And preseason already started. I'm not going to talk about preseason scores, but we'll talk about it once they start playing. So, college basketball news. This was a big one. The NCAA finally doing something right for once. Sorry to throw you guys under the bus, but my goodness, sometimes the decisions they make are crazy when you think about player safety and stuff. This is like a theme today. But they finally did something right. They blanket waiver. Everyone's allowed to get their waiver accepted if you had a waiver in an application, whatever you want, for transferring. A lot of guys transferred, gals. I'm specifically talking about college basketball, but this is D1 blanket sweep. This is everybody, all athletes, future too, spring sports too. If you transferred, automatic, like you don't have to sit out a year like normal. So for basketball, this is huge. I mean, some guys, one we just saw the other night, Mac McClung playing for Texas Tech, his got accepted almost right away. He got approved. A lot of people, I think there's a guy in UCLA that transferred across the country. He wanted to be closer to his family during the pandemic. There's a lot of people that want to be closer to their family and loved ones, friends. You want to be closer to home. You want to transfer back to school, like from home. And so this is good. I mean, you get the one time everybody transfers. You don't have to wait a year to play. You don't have to sit out. Good. Whether this is the right move going forward, that's a debate we're not going to get into right now because that's a heated one that a lot of coaches disagree and a lot of people think it's better for the athletes. But I don't know if people know what's better for the athletes more than the coaches. That's where I'll leave that. We'll get into that another day when that becomes a topic again. This is terrible news. This is, I always like to try to keep it positive on the podcast, but this was big. Keyonte Johnson on the Florida Gators against the Florida State Seminoles last week collapsed on the court, coming out of a timeout. They didn't air it, which is probably good. Very scary. Did not get up. Taken out on a stretcher, rushed to the hospital. They later said he was in critical but stable condition. That's not something you hear very often. From nurses I've heard people talk to, that means that they're in critical conditions means you have the risk of dying. Don't quote me on this, but this is what I heard. And then stable conditions means like your condition's not getting worse. It's also not improving, but I don't know if the risk of I don't know if stable conditions have anything to do with the risk of death, but critical condition does is my interpretation of it. So critical but stable condition, not good, obviously, but so it's really, I mean, this is terrible news. I mean, this kid's he's got to be 20 years old max. But then the other day, December 15th, we got an update from his parents. Florida basketball team released this. His parents said Keyonte's in stable condition today, breathing on his own now. He was in a medically induced coma. Now he no longer was as of the 15th. I haven't heard an update since this, but I think I have heard that he's up and talking, but I think that's what this release is. Breathing on his own, speaking with us, doctors, speaking with us and the doctors at UF Health. He even FaceTimed the team. We thank everybody for the support and love. So at least like it's looking better because the first 2 days was not looking good. And this was just big news in the sports world in general. So prayers up for him. I mean, hopefully he's okay. And Obviously, there were people making speculations on what it was, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to hope he gets better. Yeah. And then here's two things off the top, and then maybe we'll do a couple scores and maybe the top 10, top 4 dugout. Whoa. The Dave's Dugout top 14. Then we'll get out of here. But this I thought was crazy. Rutgers basketball. First of all, Rutgers basketball. I would have been hotter on Rutgers basketball in my rankings. I thought they were going to be good this year, but they had a weird streak last year where I think they went undefeated at home. Maybe they lost one game, but I'm pretty sure they went undefeated at home. And that was like a big reason why their record was so good, why they were going to make the NCAA tournament for the first time in however long. Rutgers was like, they were good. No, I really thought they had a chance to win a game or two in the NCAA tournament. Rutgers was good. This year, I'm like, Rutgers is going to be good again. They're not going to be the bad Rutgers that they're known for. But I didn't think, there's no home field advantage this year. Home court advantage, sorry. So, I didn't think they were going to be that good. But now they're off to a 5-0 start, and they're looking pretty good. They're looking just like last year. We'll see if they can keep it up at home like they did last year. Because I really do think home court advantage is obviously going to get hurt. Be terrible. It's bad this year. Look at the NFL. Its home field advantage is essentially non-existent. So Rutgers, this is the crazy stat I wanted to get to. There's two of them. Rutgers has never won their Big Ten opener. I think that's crazy. What are the chances of that? They've never won the Big Ten opener. And they're 5-0 for the first time since 1934. 5-0. I mean, I could see if that was a stat. 10-0, 8. It starts to get, but 5-0 is not like that. 5-0 usually is still you're still playing non-conference teams. 5-0 since 1934. Rutgers has not been great, people. I don't think that's a secret. But I think this is good for basketball and good for New York because even though Rutgers is in New Jersey, they should start, like St. John's. I've always said St. John's needs to be New York school. My God, I'll die on that hill. Why they don't recruit New York kids. Because they suck. They don't suck. I'm sorry, that's a stretch. But Rutgers and St. John's need to start recruiting kids from New York. I mean, come on. Please, can we? You're the two biggest D1 basketball schools near, come on. Minus, the Ivy Leagues, maybe, I guess, but, okay. And then, speaking of conference openers, this is the exact opposite statistic, which I think is equally crazy, if not crazier. Kansas has won 29 straight conference openers. I think that's 30 now, because they won. And they said that stat during the broadcast before they won. So I'm pretty sure it's 30 years in a row now that they've won their conference opener. They've never, what? I know they've always been the best in the Big 12, but they've never played, the second best team and gotten upset in the first game of the year against the Big 12. 29 straight for the Kansas Jayhawks. Who'd have thunk? And so let's do some scores. Texas and Baylor got postponed. Lucky me. On Sunday, that was fun. Marquette upset Creighton. That was big. Creighton I've been really high on. Rutgers beat Maryland. Speaking of playing really well. Did I skip it already? UCLA beat Marquette. That was what? What day was it? It was on Saturday. Florida State. No, Florida State, though, undefeated. Your boy was hot on them, still is. I got him in the top 5. Everybody else finally put him in the top 25. Sleeping on my man, Leonard Hamilton. Give the man some love, the fountain of youth. Here it is. It was on Sunday. Yeah, why didn't I skipped it. Anyway, West Virginia and Richmond played. This was a top 25 matchup. West Virginia looked unbelievably good. Unbelievably good. If they shoot like that, I get it. Teams can get hot one night, and maybe that's what that was. we've all known West Virginia has one of the best defenses in the country. They were really good last year. Like top 12, top 14. I had them in the top 14 when most didn't. They started the, what's the new, I want to say like the college football playoff committee essentially, but they released the top 16 a couple weeks early now. They were in that, and then they lost like 3 or 4 games in a row, if you remember. So West Virginia was good last year. If they are this good on offense, even every once in a while, West Virginia is up there with Baylor and Kansas with a great shot at winning the Big 12 and being one of the best teams in the country. I mean, they're like undoubtedly. I already have them. They're like top 15. But if they, I mean, my God, they looked good. If you can go back and watch the West Virginia Richmond game, or at least watch the highlights. West Virginia, and I mean, I've heard other people say it now too. I think Bill said it the other night on the broadcast, on a game broadcast. They started talking about this game because it was great. Like, if West Virginia shoots like that, he's like, they're Final Four good, and I totally agree. If anybody shoots like that, they're Final Four good. They were on fire. So yeah, we'll skip ahead, see what other games are good. Villanova beat Butler. Purdue upset Ohio State. Skipping along. Forgive me if I've skipped something. Thursday. Was this last night already? Wow, we skipped ahead pretty quick. Let's see if I missed anything here. We're going to check. Because this game I do want to talk about. I talked about that one. Clemson. Oh, Virginia Tech beat Clemson. That was an upset. Illinois beat Minnesota. To be expected. Duke beat Notre Dame. They finally had a bounce back. Duke won by 10. Notre Dame had been playing well, but I thought Duke would make a comeback. Oklahoma State, my team. Oh, damn, I'm so mad they lost, especially to the silly little Horned Frogs. Horned Frogs beat them by a point. Oklahoma State, I think Cade Cunningham had a shot at the buzzer, right? Yeah, it was like a contested shot at the buzzer. Missed it. That's a blow. That's a big blow to my rankings because they were climbing. I had OKC climbing. You lose to the stupid Horned Frogs by a point. All right, and then here's the game I was stalling to talk about. I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything in the week ahead. But this happened last night on Thursday. Kansas and Texas Tech. Woo-hoo-hoo! Woo! This was a good game. Kansas won by 8 points and kept that Big 12 opening 29-game winning streak alive. Texas Tech almost played spoiler. Kansas wins it, though, 58-57. Wow, KenPom actually had the projection Texas Tech to win that game by 3, maybe because they were at home. They had some fans in there. It was good to see. St. Louis still looking really good. NC State I thought would keep it close. I thought St. Louis was going to win. I didn't think they'd win by 20. 69, 79? Oh, well, 12, whatever. They won. St. Louis won by a lot. It was a good game. I thought NC State would keep it close. Seton Hall, Marquette. Oh, this one stung if you follow me on Instagram. Had a nice little parlay going. All I needed was a Marquette just to keep it close. I think I just needed them to not lose by more than 5. Would have been nice. But if they would have won, that would have been really nice. But they lost by 7. Seton Hall, Marquette, both. I mean, that was one of those games. Big East, top 40-ish teams going at it, flip a coin. So Big East is normally like that. Not surprising. Usually I would say just bet that it's a close game, and it was. They pulled away at the end there. Marquette was down by like 12 and then made it a 1-point game or even tied it. I think they tied it, right? Yeah. And then fell back again. End of those games are tricky, especially if you're betting on spreads for people now that's legal. Free throws at the end of the game, it can slide away from a 2-point game to a 7-point game quick. So those were all last night. And we got a big weekend ahead. But you know what? We've been doing this long enough. I'm getting tired. I gotta go to work. Last thing on the pod that I have on my top 14. Let's run down it real quick. Obviously changing now that it's Friday already. I made these on Monday. I update them when the AP poll and coaches poll updates theirs. Still, and we talked about this last week with Aiden. I still have Baylor number 1. I thought Baylor and Gonzaga should have played by now, so we'd have a real number 1. We don't, so I'm just leaving Baylor there until either them or Gonzaga loses. Granted, it's a little too long, but I mean the game got canceled. What can we do? That was not my intention, but here we are. I firmly believe normally under like a crazy circumstance you shouldn't drop a team unless they lose. There's obviously I'm gonna have situations maybe where you change that, but like I think that's a rule you should try to follow. So Baylor, Gonzaga, Iowa, I think that's a consensus top 3. It is actually what I'm looking at. I like I said, am really high on Florida. I have Florida the 4th best team in the country. Is that an exaggeration? Maybe. I don't know. They haven't lost. Like I said, I'm not going to drop them until they lose. And other teams have been losing, so that's why they've just been climbing. Looking at what I had on Friday, Ken Palm 12, top 25 and 1. They were at 22. AP and coaches poll had them at 15. So I have them way higher than everybody else. Kansas at 5, looking good. Creighton, I had at 6. They lost a game. Now they won a game, so we'll see where they end up when I update this. Michigan State's 6-0. Houston's 4-0. Houston's looking really good. They're a top 10 team. I have them at number 8. Villanova, Tennessee, West Virginia, I have at 11. West Virginia, like I said, looked really good. If you just base it off that Richmond game, West Virginia should be top 5. Maybe right behind Kansas at 6. Texas 13, 12, Virginia 13, Wisconsin 14. What are the ones I just have higher than most? Florida, despite the loss of Florida State, like people punish them for that. I have Florida State ranked 4 in the country. Everybody should lose to Florida State, so I'm not gonna hold that against them. They're at 17, unranked or 24, 33, 34. Yeah, so if people are sleeping on Florida, I think they'll be a little bit, hopefully. I mean, Keyonte Johnson was picked to be the SEC Player of the Year. Obviously, he's hospitalized, so we'll see how that affects the team. I think the team suspended play for a while because this has been hard, obviously hard for everyone. So we'll see what happens there. Arkansas, another one on the must bus. Jump on the must bus, people. I have them at 18. They're 40 or not ranked or 34 in every other poll. I have them at 18 in my top 25. Arkansas, the Razorbacks, at least on Monday, they were 6-0. Oklahoma State, like I said, high on them, but they lost the game by a point to TCU, so I'll drop them out of the top 25, but I still easily think they're a top 40 team. People are starting to get on that bandwagon. They're unranked or 30 or 27. That was on Monday. There's another one I'm a little high on. Missouri 5-0. SDSU's 5-0. I'm actually lower on them only because I got to jump them up above people who have been losing. They're climbing. I'm trying. I'm at 22, 29, 21, 18, 20 in AP and coaches, so they're good. They're a top 25 team for sure. I guess I have them a top 25 team. I'm at 22. I'm not that low on them. Carolina and Duke, I only have them at 24 and 25 because of the names. They have not been playing like a top 25 teams. Duke finally won a game, so maybe again. But it's almost like I dropped them and then stopped at 25 just because I'm like, well, it's Duke and Carolina. They'll probably be a top 25 team again in a couple weeks. They'll figure it out. So they get that. I mean, the Blue Bloods get that bonus with the name. I mean, and everybody knows that. Virginia Tech. I said I was going to do a quick version of this. I'm not, but whatever. Who else we got? Undefeated teams. Rutgers, like I said, they were 4-0. Now they're 5-0. St. Louis won another big one. They're going to jump up. I have them at 31. They're starting to get close to top 25 teams. Gary Parrish had them at 25 on Monday. Coaches in AP had 27 and 29. So they're getting there. UCLA won another game, so they'll be, I have them at 33. McCronin, woo! Clemson was 5-0 on Monday. Xavier, Minnesota, 6-0. And then Cuse, I have number 40. So that's the DD Top 40 rundown. I don't know. I'll start. I usually update it daily, but we'll see. And so that was as of Monday, obviously. An AP and coaches poll will never update daily. That's always just on Monday. And then the news I wanted to end on before I got distracted by my top 14 and 40 there is Henrik Lundqvist. I did that whole episode on him when he is no longer a Ranger, and now this is crazy. Now he's as his Twitter he released on his social media pages. It breaks my heart, parentheses literally, to share this news. I will not be joining the Capitals this coming season. After many weeks of tests and conversations with specialists around the country, it's been determined that I have a heart condition that will prevent me from taking the ice. Together, we've decided that the risk of playing before remedying my condition is too high, so I will spend the coming months figuring out the best course of action. He goes on to say some more, but so he's not going to be joining the Capitals because of a heart condition, so that's scary. For the King of New York, Henrik, I hope he can get better. Scary stuff there with him and both Keyonte Johnson. Hopefully they both get better. And that was an episode, folks. Wow. That was fun. I told you we had a lot to get to today. If you liked what you heard, if you laughed, if you learned something, anything, share it with your friends. Thank you for watching, listening. And we will say goodbye to the podcast, goodbye to the YouTube, and goodbye to Instagram. Love you all, and we will see you next time. Oh, it was so smooth ending on Instagram. Goodbye, YouTube.